played in London probably 5 or 6 times, but it's always been part of an atmosphere show or part of something else. You know what I mean? And this is my first time actually doing my own show. And I wasn't nervous, but I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't expect anything. I felt like if there was 10 people here at the show, I would be happy that those 10 people came. You know what I mean? But I just had no clue what to expect. So then when I got on the plane to come over here, I got an email on my phone and it said, it's sold out. Everything I've done before this album has been really personal. I write it in a really personal approach, but they're always my stories. They're always things that have happened in my life to me. And on this album, it's still a very personal approach. I still talk about the mood and the feeling of things, but they're not my stories. Well, they're my story, they're my relationship with people. Instead of my story about drugs, it's my relationship with the person I love who sold drugs or was hooked on drugs. You know, they're not first-hand stories. I gave me a lot of freedom to talk about more issues and more topics that are close to me because it's the people that I love, you know what I mean? They are part of my life, you know what I mean? Rape and slavery and homophobia and murder and violence and drug abuse, all these things are part of my life, not because I'm involved in them, you know what I mean? But because the people that I love who make me who I am are. Inspiration from Atmosphere because we work so closely. We have a very supportive relationship with them, you know, as friends and as artists, and we're business partners. It's not completely equal. Like Slug is definitely my mentor. He's the big brother, I'm the little brother, which is beautiful. We definitely inspire each other in generally. What made me want to do what I was doing, or what I'm doing now, because these are still true, actual stories, you know what I mean? Slug was creating stories, you know what I mean? That had some basis somewhere in real life, but they're completely authored by him, you know what I mean? Which is a completely different, incredible thing that he does in a way that nobody else can do, you know? Mine basically came from me telling my story so much and people relating to it and responding to it and connecting with it and feeling like it was them and feeling like they had some stake in it, even though it wasn't their story. If talking about the feelings, these feelings and moods can make people see themselves in me, can I take people from different parts of life? Because I've lived in all different parts of society, different types of neighborhoods, different groups, different races, religions, economic groups, all this stuff. And these people tend to feel like they're so different from each other, but I've seen them all up close and I know they're all the same. So can I tell the stories in a personal way and make my listeners feel closer to my friends? You know what I mean? It was way more still a personal thing for me. You know, Dexter has a code for killing people. I have a code for writing my songs, and the main part of mine is that don't tell other people's business. You know what I mean? Don't expose other people's business. I can expose all my business that I want, but when it crosses over to, you know, somebody else in my life to where I'm telling their business, that's where I have to draw the line. I wrote a song about my ex-wife. I knew her, you know, like a kind of updated from this old song I had called Walking Away. And, you know, I was talking about the actual crazy shit that she had done, you know what I mean? And it's really messed up stuff. I'll never put that song out, because that's not for me to tell. It's a good song. I made the whole album thinking that it was going to be the street preacher. That was actually, I did choose it, but that was a name that was given to me by a fan. I had an idea for what I wanted this album to be. And she was like, you need to make an album where you do this and this and this. And it was a lot of the same ideas that I had. And she was like, and you're like a street preacher. And and that's what the album should be called. And it just hit me so hard that she had the same idea for my album that I did. And I was like, yeah, I probably should call it that, you know what I mean? And so I started making that album. Like, I made that album thinking of the Street Preacher. When I got to the end, something wasn't right. And I gave myself a time period where I was like, I'm gonna work on this album until this date so that it can come out on September 22nd. When I got to the end, I really liked everything that I made. I was really proud of what I did. I was talking to my business partner about it, Steve, who runs Rhyme Series. He was like, you know, I don't think the title of this, he was like, the record you made is great, the album you made is great, but do you think that it's The Street Preacher? And I was like, no, it's not. And he was like, well, it's not too late to change it. You do what you need to do. And so I came up with the idea of Us. I threw it out there. Because the last song was called Us. And I was like, well, what if, I was like, you know, this song, I saved that for last. And, you know, it's supposed to sum up what the album was about. That's what the purpose of that song was. So I'm like, well, that seems like a good name. Street Preacher feels like somebody who feels like they know the ultimate truth and they're telling you what you should be doing different. And they're an expert on you, you know what I mean? And they are gonna fix you. And that's not what I'm doing. I feel like I'm an expert on me. And I'm an expert on how I feel about things. And I'm just sharing that with you. But the focus of this album isn't just me, it's my relationship with all these different types of people. So that's why it's Us. Like, all my other records are about me, this one's about us.